Welcome. Can you all see me? Hello. Really good to see you. Let's see if there are any familiar faces in the audience. So for those of you who don't know me, and I'm sure there's some people here I know, I'd like to welcome you specially to this talk. My name is Akemu, and I'm an assistant professor here at NUGSB Graduate School of Business. I teach management and entrepreneurship. So this evening or this afternoon, I want to talk about negotiations. We have 1 hour. It's not a lot of time. I just want to introduce you to some essential concepts in negotiation. In a way, I want to whet your appetite. I want to give you a primer for a more elaborate, a more detailed course we'll be running in the spring on negotiation. My preference is that if you have any questions, you ask them at the end of the talk. But if you have a comment I can answer in the course of the presentation, please raise your hand and ask the question. I want to be as interactive as possible. We don't have a lot of time, but let's make the time enjoyable. So please, if you have any questions, field them during the discussion. If I think it's better to take it at the end, I'll postpone it. And if I can, I'll answer those questions in the course of the presentation. Okay. Everyone can see my screen? Okay. Let's go. So, who am I? My name is Akemu. I was born in a huge city called Lagos. It's a city with 17 million inhabitants. So imagine all of Kazakhstan in one city. My initial training was as an engineer. I worked for Shell for some time. And thereafter, I decided to do an MBA and a PhD. And thereafter, I got interested in doing research in organizations, in entrepreneurship. That's a bit about me. But today is not really about me. Today is about negotiation. Is there anybody here who has been involved in a negotiation before? Negotiating for a raise, a salary, a house? Nujamal.
Yeah, hello.
So what kind of negotiation have you been involved in?
I have been involved in negotiation with OSD. It's my work background. We are going to implement some GLP principles. It's a good laboratory practice. It's one of the processes to be part of OSD countries. Mm-hmm. And we have some negotiation with the representative of OSD department to be adherent of some agreement. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was in Japan last year.
Okay. So this was before...
we were like representative of Kazakhstan in OSD.
Okay. So this was before COVID.
Maybe I have some problems.
Okay. No. Okay, thank you. So she's been involved.
Yeah, it was before.
I have a good experience of negotiations. In my earlier career, I negotiated on behalf of the government in the task force on Kashagan deal.
Okay.
12 years ago. I worked for Shell. I worked for Shell in the Netherlands. In commercial department, negotiated a lot of deals, but recently, last 3-4 years, I negotiated a good deal for Kazakhstan and for a global aerospace company. I brought an American company to this market, regional market. And this actually forced me to negotiate deals with the suppliers as well as with customers in the region. And it is successful. It's an operating business at this moment. So I use some skills that I learned from MBA, executive MBA from RSM. So we are graduates of RSM.
Okay, so we must know a few people in common. Yeah. So so Yerlan's and Nurjamal's negotiation situations, involve multiple people, multiple groups, and perhaps with multiple objectives. In Yerlan's case, I'm negotiating with suppliers, contractors, the government, sorry, on behalf of the government, negotiating with a company like Shell. In Nurjamal's case, negotiating on behalf of Kazakhstan with different members of the OSD. So these can be quite complex negotiation situations. Can be quite complex. Today, we're going to talk about a simple two-party negotiation. The objective in this case is a single objective, not a complex one like in Yerlan's case or Nurjamal's case. We have one thing, two people. So we negotiate every day. And I think many Kazakhs know this. You go to the bazaar. First time I went to Artyom. People are negotiating all the time. How much does it cost? And they see you're a foreigner, they bump up the price, right? You have to negotiate with them. We do this all the time. In the office, we negotiate. With our children, we negotiate, right? For people who have children, we negotiate. With our office workers, we negotiate. Yeah. So we're always in these negotiation situations. And the question people often think is, some people have the skill. They're just born with it. They can negotiate. They just do it well. Whereas some people say, can you learn it? My perspective is, well, some people are born with certain skills, but you can also learn. The way I learned. Yeah. So that's my take. So today, let's go through a few of the concepts we'll talk about. What is this negotiation? We're trying to achieve agreement between two parties. These two parties are trying to maximize their outcomes. The trick here is, I want information from you. You want information from me. But I need to be strategic in how I release information I have. So it's an interdependent kind of game we're playing. Yeah. So when I speak to students, there's some traps in negotiation. Traps. Tony Blair, the picture on the left, was renowned, very good negotiator. We think that some people are born with it. Another trap is hubris, pride. Nobody talks to me that way. I'm going to walk away from the table. Have you experienced this before during negotiation? Has anyone experienced this? Pride, that's a trap. The third trap you find a lot of us make is we leave money on the table. What does this mean? It means you could have been better off, but because of pride, because you didn't have enough information, you left money on the table. You are not better off. So these are some of the traps I will try to, in the course we'll have in spring, we'll try to see how we can alleviate some of, how we can escape rather, some of these traps. Okay. Any questions so far? Please use the hand raising button because I cannot see everyone at the same time. Okay. Okay, let's talk about some key principles in negotiation. This is a negotiation situation many of us have been involved in. Anybody ever bought a house or sold a house or an apartment?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, many of us have done that. So you're a seller. You have a very nice apartment in the center of Nur Sultan. Your family is getting bigger. You have 2 kids now, and you say, you know what? I want to sell my apartment. I want to get to buy a larger place. I want to sell the thing. You had advertised your apartment for 70 million tenge. Is that an expensive apartment in Nur Sultan? Is that expensive?
Yeah. Quite
Yes.
expensive, sure.
It's expensive.
Yes, it's very expensive.
It's very expensive. Okay. And you say, look, I'm not going to sell it. For me, if I sell it anything less than 55 million, I can't. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. You advertise it for 70, but you know what? You're going to accept something lower than 70, but not lower than 55. You're a buyer. You want to buy an apartment, and you want to get a place, really, you hope you can buy an apartment for 50 million tenge. But just because of the money you have in your pocket, you're not going to buy it for more than 65 million tenge. So this is a very realistic scenario, right? Okay, let's talk about some concepts here. So I'm going to leave you with some concepts. This type of negotiation is a very simple distributive negotiation. Just 2 parties. What are you concerned about? You want to get, the buyer wants to get the highest price. The seller wants to get the lowest price. I'm not going to be friends with the seller. I'm not going to be friends with the buyer. I don't care about them. I only care about money. It's a single issue. But as a seller, I don't know how much the buyer is willing to pay. As a buyer, I don't know the least price the seller is willing to accept. So I don't know how large the pizza is. I don't know how large the pie is. It's simple. I just want to find, I want to pay as much as, I want to get as much as possible from the other party. Yeah? It's just simple distribution. The tug of war. Yeah. If you're the seller, the first concept I want to introduce you to is called the BATNA. The BATNA. It's your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. BATNA. So basically it means if you're a seller, if you don't sell this house, what option do you have? Who can help us? What kinds of options can the seller have if they don't sell the house? Who can help us? If you don't sell the house, what options do you have? I think I see a familiar face. I'll call her. Hi, Garim. Can you help?
Well, you refer to realtors or specialists in selling houses?
So if you don't sell, what is the alternative?
Can I answer to this question?
Yes, please. So who's speaking?
My name is Aiganem.
Okay.
So my answer is you can rent out the apartment.
Okay. You can rent out the apartment. Yeah. So thank you very much for that, Aiganem. The first thing is, before you go into a negotiation, you want to know, what is my partner? If I don't sell this house, what am I going to do? What else might be your partner if you're a seller? What else might be your partner? What is your partner if you don't sell?
Останемся дальше жить в этой квартире и будем ждать роста цен.
Maybe ask the higher price.
Absolutely. Stay in the apartment.
Yep.
Absolutely. So the partner, that's very, very good point. So before you go into the negotiation, first, what is my partner? Make it very clear to yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're a seller, what's your partner? Sorry, if you're a buyer, what's your partner?
Lower price, low price.
No, what is your partner if you're a buyer?
Money.
If you're
to decrease the price of apartment. If I'm buyer, I want to buy in low price.
Okay.
And
but what is your
less
partner?
money.
What is your alternative?
expected.
What's your best alternative? If you don't do the deal,
you can choose a different apartment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first, before you go into a negotiation, as a buyer or as a seller, you want to know, what is my partner? If I don't do this deal, what is my alternative? As a buyer, you want to be looking at many other houses or apartments. Mm-hmm. Or you may say, I may rent instead of buying.
Yep.
Yep.
Sure.
So that's the first concept, partner. The first principle here is your partner gives you power. It gives you power.
Yeah.
Never fall in love.
Demonstrate your power.
Sorry, no can.
Yeah. So demonstrate your opportunity. Demonstrate your choosing.
So as a buyer or as a seller, you want to know your partner before negotiating. You need to know it. Don't fall in love with the apartment. Don't do it. It's easy for me to say. The last time I bought a house, I saw the place and my wife said my wife loved it. And I told my wife, no, let's not love it. I took out my Excel sheet, I put in all the numbers, and my wife says, you're such a professor, stop behaving like this, just buy. I said, no. I'm gonna put it all in my spreadsheet, calculate with my partner, right? So don't fall in love. Make sure you know your partner. The third thing is, what does your counterpart think of your partner? The seller is thinking, If Nurkan doesn't buy my apartment, he has no other choice. That's not good. The seller should think, Nurkan has an option. That weakens his bargaining power, right? Wagner, first concept. The second concept I want to sorry, there was a question. Question. I heard a question. Okay. The second concept I want to leave you with is the reservation price, or your RP. Your reservation price. This is the point beyond which you say, look, I'm not going to sell this house, or I'm not going to buy this house. I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy this house. So in the example I gave, this example, the buyer's reservation price is 65 million. The seller's reservation price is 55 million. Before you go into a negotiation, know your reservation price. Know your reservation price. So let me ask people here, who has ever negotiated for an increase in salary with their boss? Has anyone here done it? Ever done it before? No, nobody has done it. Wow.
No.
Wow. In Kazakhstan? Nah.
Impossible to do this.
No, it's possible, but it's a rare situation.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really? Explain, please. So please,
Because it depends on the dollar's price, for example, exchange currency situation.
Okay. No, Jamal, you've never negotiated your salary increase, salary raise?
No, never, because I have been working for a governmental structure. We have fixed salary, and it's it not depends on my desire to increase or something else.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's a good point, because some organizations have collective agreements. It's a good point, yeah. So government organizations tend to have this, right? Yeah. Has anyone here ever negotiated for salary increase?
I did.
I said?
I had an experience. Yes. Hello. But I was rejected actually, but then I quit that job.
So what was your reservation price, if I may ask? They didn't meet your reservation price.
Yeah, well, I asked them to double my salary, and they rejected. And I said, okay, you're losing good good worker. Goodbye.
Okay, so you had a BATNA.
Yeah.
You had a BATNA. So you can imagine Asel telling the boss, double my salary, but she has no BATNA.
Yeah.
And then the boss says, what do you do?
I said, okay, then in 3, I don't remember. I think it was 3 months I was quitting the job.
So you had a BATNA, and then you
went.
And
they had time for reconsidering my my BATNA.
Okay. BATNA reservation price. It's a good example. Like when you negotiate for a salary increase, you better have a BATNA. And you better know what your BATNA is. And you want your boss to know you have a BATNA. You want your boss to know you have a BATNA.
Ask agreement. Like
how do you mean, Nurkan?
Yep. About what?
You had a question to ask.
No. It's like a ask agreement between two parties.
So a BATNA is is not an agreement. It is
No. I know about the BATNA. Yeah, you told about this. Yeah, BATNA it's an alternative. It's a from my opinion and from the seller or buyer opinion.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes. So it has to be. I think the first idea I want to leave you with is know your partner before you go into the negotiation. Second, know your reservation price. If you need to know the point below which you're not going to do the deal. So, okay, for me, I walk away. Often people go into negotiations without knowing what their reservation price is. Spend a lot of time thinking for me, what's the point below which I'm not going to do this deal? You need to know it before you go into your into the negotiation. The third concept I want to leave you with is the zone of possible agreement, or the ZOPA. The ZOPA. So let's think about the example I gave. The buyer hopes to buy the apartment for 50 million tenge, but they're not going to buy it for more than 65 million. That's the triangle going from the left to the right. The seller hopes to sell it for 70 million tenge, but will not sell it for anything lower than 55 million tenge. That's the seller's reservation price. Can you see the point over which the two triangles overlap? That is the zone of possible agreement. The zone of possible agreement. The problem is, I don't know what the buyer's reservation price is. The buyer doesn't know what the seller's reservation price is. So we don't know what the zone of agreement is. That's a huge challenge here. We don't know what the zone of agreement is. So how do you find out what the zone of agreement is? How do you find out? Let's talk about a few ideas. But before I continue, any questions? I see lots of comments in the chat. Let me open up the chat. I see, I think Perez, yeah. Okay, Yolan. Okay, Yolan Adilia is my daughter. I see. Okay. Okay. Any question? I would like to hear from the Russian speakers. Any
May
questions?
I ask?
Yes, please.
May I ask? What is the probability of this to find these agreements from both sides? Like, I mean, how often they agree on the common like meet their common interests?
So that's a good question, and I think it's very tough to say that people will agree. I think the important question is, how do you find out whether there's a zone of possible agreement? How do you do it? Because often you don't know. You don't know. In the example I gave of buying a house, it's easy to know because you can compare house prices across Nur Sultan. If the buyer wants 70 million, you can look around and say, for the amount of square meters they're trying to offer, is this comparable to other houses in that part of Nur Sultan? Yeah. So you can collect some external information. For salary, for those of you who negotiate salary, the question you want to ask is, what scale, salary scale, is your boss working with? Yeah. Many organizations have, for every position, they have a scale. You know, 100,000 to 200,000. You want to know that scale. And often you can find it out by asking HR people. Yeah. So the trick is to find out whether there's a zone of agreement by collecting information. Another thing you might be able to do is ask yourself, what is my opponent's BATNA? What's their BATNA? If I leave that job, can they replace me? If they cannot replace you, you know that there's, their reservation prices is higher, right? So, to answer your question, you need to look at your particular negotiation scenario to say, how can I estimate my counterpart's reservation price? How can I estimate their BATNA? Let me ask you a question. Should you reveal your reservation price?
No.
Why not?
To see, maybe they will suggest you more.
Okay. Who says you should reveal your reservation price?
Boss.
You think you should reveal it?
I'm not sure.
Almira, do you think you should reveal your reservation price?
Well, it depends on.
Okay.
Most of the time, people who are, for example, hiring for a position, they are asking for an exact salary. If they say, yeah. And usually employer is looking for the skills the person had. So, and depending on what skills does the person have and experience have, depending on that, the salary will be given.
Okay.
It is, it's a kind of remuneration procedure of the.
But remember, Almira, if you want to hire me, and you tell me what salary do you want, am I going to tell you my reservation price?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Okay, let's say my reservation price is 50,000 tenge.
And if your skills is much better than 50,000 tenge, then we can give you a higher salary, right?
So think about it from don't forget what the reservation price is. The reservation price is the price below which I'm not going to take the job. If I tell you my reservation price is 50, what are you going to do, Almira? What are you going to offer me?
Well, if it doesn't fit on the company policy, then I may say no. Or
assuming it fits. Assuming it fits. If I tell you, if I say, Amira, my reservation price is 50,000 tenge, how much are you going to offer me? How much should you offer me?
I can offer you more.
How much? How much?
She would offer you 40.
Depending on what position you're hiring for.
And assuming I'm saying, assume you like me, you like my skills, and I say, look, my reservation price is 50. If I let you know my reservation price is 50, how much are you going to offer me?
Actually, I had such kind of situation in my real life when a person gave us a lower price, but we hired a person for the higher price, higher salary, just because of his skills. Depending on the situation,
Okay. So in general, don't reveal your reservation price. If I reveal my reservation, if I tell you my reservation price is 50, if you offer me 51. So if you ask me for my salary, I'm going to say my reservation price is 50, but I'm going to say, look, Almira, offer me 100. You see that?
Yeah.
You see that? So never reveal your reservation price. Or it's like a general rule. There are exceptions. But in this kind of negotiation, never.
Okay.
If I let you know what my reservation price is, you're just going to offer me something marginally better.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one, yeah. So that's a very good example. Who can, anyone else wanted to say something? I thought I saw a few hands raised. Oh, I think Aganim, your hand is raised.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yeah.
So regarding to job offer, let's say that the hiring manager asks you about your desired salary, and you reveal your you reveal your desired salary. And how do you? I mean that you're saying that you don't need to reveal it. And my question is that, so how this affects to the salary?
Okay.
Your possible salary that you're going to get from that certain company?
Fantastic question. Fantastic question. Number one, I'm not saying do not say what salary you want. I'm saying do not reveal your reservation price. If you are not going to work for that company for anything lower than 50,000, don't say 50,000, say 100,000. Say something higher. Don't let the future boss know that your reservation price is 50. That's the point. Don't let them know that. The second point you're raising is a very good one. So what is the impact you're saying on your future salary? Let me ask you a question. Let me flip the question back to you. What is the greatest predictor of the final salary you get in a negotiation? What do you think the greatest predictor is?
Well, I would say doing some like research in the industry.
No,
Like,
during the negotiation, so Aigenim, you and I are negotiating the salary. You want to hire me?
yes.
What do you think predicts the best predictor, one of the best predictors of the final salary we agree on? What do you think is the best predictor? Okay.
Well, I don't know.
I guess it's a fantastic question. That's why I flipped it back. The best predictor.
Sorry, can I tell?
Yes, Anara.
Hello. So
Hello.
I was like negotiating my salary, and my manager was like referring to like this is like my scale, what I can do. After it's not like the higher, like if you asking too high, the manager was referring, yes, you're asking too much. It's not in my it's my responsibility. So what negotiation? I mean, what can I do that? If even of course I don't know what is like scale for the position.
Yeah. So I'll come back to your question, Anar, after I address Aigenim's question. The best predictor is the initial offer. If your boss says, before you even mention your reservation price, if the boss says, you say, boss, I want to negotiate my salary with you. The minute you enter the room, the boss says, I'm not going to pay you more than 75. What are they doing?
They said they did their best to have this salary for employees.
Yeah. So what the boss is doing is anchoring you. Anchoring. This is a well demonstrated effect across in psychology. If I don't know what to expect, I grab onto the first number, and I do not adjust from that number. So the boss will just say, look, once it looks 75, that's it. What you do, even if you wanted 100, you're going to say, okay, 77. Okay, 78. Okay, 79. Okay. Yeah. So to your question is, the first offer has a huge impact on the final offer. So what should you do in a salary negotiation situation, Aiganim?
Well, I would say just to identify the amount of money that you're not going to accept, that below from that amount of money.
Yeah.
And try to be persistent.
Okay. So the first thing, identify your reservation price. The second thing, you go in with the offer.
No. I'm not going with the initial offer.
No, so you make your offer, I mean. So if the boss says, I got him 75, what should you do? Smile. Boss, you're funny. You're really funny. 125. Yeah. So go in with your own offer. Because what the boss is doing, he's trying to keep you around 75. And because the boss knows of this psychological bias, anchor and adjust. So you go aggressively countering. Yeah. Just one tip. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I got it. Thank you very much.
Know your reservation price and then go aggressive. So get your boss to anchor. Don't get him to anchor you, or don't get her to anchor you. Yeah. Okay. The zone of possible agreement in this example is 10 million. Yeah. So we're talking about three concepts: BATNA, reservation price; ZOPA, zone of possible agreement. So never reveal your reservation price. Don't do it. Second, if your BATNA does not change, or the terms of the deal do not change, don't change your reservation price. Because the tendency is that when you go into the negotiation and you start dealing, you start, is my negotiation price that low? You start to fall in love with the house. It's happened to me before. You see a house you want to buy, you just fall in love. No. Third, and this is a mistake we often make, we don't prepare before we go into a negotiation. We don't prepare. Write your reservation price and know your BATNA. Sometimes the negotiation price is hard to quantify. So think about a job. A job is not just about money, right, Elmira? It's not just about salary, right? There's salary, there's promotion possibility, there's personal growth, there's the company, there's location, there are all these other things you get from a job. It's not just money. Yeah? So what should you do in that case? It's not just salary. There's so many other aspects of a job. For instance, how do you know your reservation price? What you should try to do, and I will discuss this in the course in spring, is all those things you find important in a job, try to quantify it. For example, you may say, on a scale of 1 to 10, this company gives me opportunity for growth, maybe 7. On a scale from 1 to 10, my colleagues, do I like them? 8. All the things you find important in the job, try to quantify them and give weights to every item. We'll talk about this in the course. For those of you who want to attend the course, we'll talk about how to do this. In this talk, it's a simple two-party negotiation, and there's only one objective that you can easily quantify. In real life, it's not like that. In real life, there are many, many, many objectives. You try to make them as quantitative as possible. The fourth tip I want to leave you with is find out what the BATNA of your counterparts are. If your boss doesn't want to give you a salary, what is their reservation price? Try to find that out. And there are many ways to do this. They want to give you a raise. Why not? What are their barriers? What are their constraints, rather? Find out. Yeah. Don't go into a negotiation like this unprepared. We often make this mistake. Don't fall in love. Make the first offer. I talked about anchoring. Who has seen this before? You've seen this. For those in marketing, you've seen this before, right? You've seen something like this. For those of you who buy expensive shoes, expensive suits, which would you rather buy? One on the left or the one on the right?
On the right.
The one on the right. So marketers do this all the time. That's why you should make the first offer. Yeah. So how much should it? How much does it? I mean, how much? I don't know. You know, it used to be $1,000, but now I'm going to give it because I like you. I'm going to give it to you for 300. Okay. Yeah. Make the first offer. Okay. Some other thoughts about these kinds of two-party negotiations. Be ready to make some concessions. Be really ready to make concessions. Yeah. Look at the size of the concessions you are making. If you tell your boss, look, I want 125, and your boss is offering you 75, and if you say, look, I'm going to come from 125 to 110, but your boss goes from 75 to 77, well, that's not a good sign. That's an indication that they have a good BATNA, or they're getting close to their reservation price. The closer you get to your reservation price, makes sense. The smaller the concession you want to make. And for every concession you make, why did I do it? When you negotiate with your boss, they want to go from 75 to 80. What do they say? They say, look, I don't have authority to make this decision. Let me speak to my boss. It's a brilliant tactic. What they've done, they're deferring the decision. It's not my decision, it's somebody else's decision. Yeah. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. This may just be a tactic to delay. Any question? I see some questions in the chat. Let me go. Let's see. I think I see something from. Is it necessary?
It's opinions.
I think this is from Begbolat. Is it necessary to insist on your desired price? And the seller will say his minimum. Yeah. So again, do not reveal your reservation price. If you are not going to sell for anything less than 65, don't tell anyone. Start from 75 and then start making concessions. look at the amount of concession you're making and see if the seller is making the same amount of concession. If the seller is making those concessions, you know that they're far away from their reservation price. If their concessions are small, they may be trying to give you the impression that they're close to their reservation price, or they're indeed close to their reservation price. Yeah. So never reveal your reservation price. Never. Make sure you know your BACNA. So even if you don't reach a deal, your alternative is always better than not reaching the deal. Yeah, it must be better. So that's a question from Beck Bollard. Perception of each value for, this is from perception of value for each party, investment return or an immediate cash need for a seller. First, we need to tell each other prices, or we will laugh and then come to an average price. That's one option. That's one way to do it. One way is, you know, we come, we smile, and we split the difference. That's one way. Yeah. The last time I bought a house, I made an offer. I made an offer for what? 265,000 euros or something like that. The seller wanted 250. And then they said, let's split the difference. The seller had an advantage because we were getting close to the end of the year. And they knew that in the new year, the price of the house would change because taxes would change. So they knew they had an advantage, so they just said split the difference. And I agreed because I looked at my BACNA. If I don't reach an agreement, the price is going to increase by 5%. Yeah. So always know your BACNA. Always know your reservation price. Okay, let's try to take this home. There's so much more we can cover. There's so much more. In this talk, we've talked about very simple two-party negotiations. During the course in May, we'll talk about the kinds of negotiations that Yerlan was involved in, multi-party, multi-objective negotiations. Those are much more complex. We'll talk about conflict management. What if you just hate the other person? What if you have conflict? What do you do? Today, I assume people are rational. People know their reservation prices and people know their BACNA. This is the assumption I've made today. Is it always like that? No. So today we've kept it really simple, very simple, just to give you a taste for the concept in negotiation. Any questions? Any questions? I think is someone writing in the chat now? Okay, in that case, let's take it home. Some of the key takeaways from today's conversation. Know your BACNA, know your reservation price. Yeah. If I do not.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Professor, one question. How long we need to insist on our BACNA? Maybe it depends of the situation of it depends of the some psychological type of people, for example.
Yeah. Do you have a particular a situation in mind? Is it salary negotiation, buying a house, buying a car?
Buying a car.
Buying a car. So you, how long do you, okay, you're saying how long should I insist on my own position? I would say as long as you have
as possible.
Time and resources. Don't forget what your reservation price is. Your reservation price is also time.
Sure.
You also pick my time. We talk about opportunity costs. I want to buy the car for 6 million tenge. That's how much I want to buy. The seller says, I'm not going to sell it for anything less than 6.5 million. How long should you keep, look, I'm not going to buy it for more than 6 million. If you have a lot of time, keep saying 6 million. If you don't have a lot of time, don't forget your time is always factored into your reservation price. I don't want to spend my time negotiating with this guy. I'm just going to say, look, for me, 6 million is the best, because 6 million is related to your reservation price. If the seller says, no, I'm not going to offer you for 6 million, you move on, because your time is precious to you. I'm trying to sell my car right now. I have a lot of time. I'm offering my car for 6 million, for example. People have come to me and said 5.2 million. I said, nope. 5.5, I said, nope.
No.
Because I have time. I don't need the car. I don't need the money. So I'm going to sell it in March because I have time. So I factored in time into my reservation price. If I needed the money urgently, I would have sold it off, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
It's a fantastic question. Yeah. Any other question, please? Okay. One of my key takeaways, ladies and gentlemen, please know your partner. Please know your partner in every negotiation situation, whether it's buying a car, whether it's buying a house, whether it's a salary negotiation. Think very carefully. Your partner is related to your reservation price and other considerations like time. Try to make this quantitative, convert it into money as much as possible, or points. In May, for those of you who come in May, I'll show you how you can convert all those costs into points. Know your partner, know your reservation price. Second, please plan. Please plan. Know your counterpart's partner. Try to get your counterpart's partner. Try to get their reservation price. Try to get if you're going for a salary negotiation, try to find out what your boss's reservation price is. And there are many ways you can do this. You can ask around in the organization. Please use this planning document. For those of you who will come in May, I have a template I'm going to share with you that you can use for buying a house, for buying a car, for a salary negotiation. You need to plan. This fantastic point that was raised, I believe, by was it Akemu, who talked about the impact of the first offer. The impact of the first offer is very strong. Try to make the first offer as much as possible. As much as possible. Sometimes it doesn't work. In May, we'll talk about when it doesn't work. But there's a very well-known bias. If we don't know, if I ask you, how many people live in Turkey? If you don't know, and I just tell you, and I just give a number, 10 million, your final answer is going to be related to 10 million. We just grab any number we can find, and we adjust from that point. Well-known bias. So skilled negotiators know how to do this. They just put a number to anchor you. So you want to counter that. You want to go into your negotiation with your own number. Yeah. There's a risk. If your number is too aggressive, you're going to go outside the zone of the ZOPA. Last point, make concessions. But make sure that the other party is also making concessions. As you get closer to your reservation price, concessions should be smaller. Know when to walk away. Don't fall in love with that car. Don't fall in love with that house. Know when to walk away. Yeah. Skilled negotiators, they know how to get you to like them. At the end, you make a deal that's not good for you. don't like the car salesman too much. Don't like the seller of the house too much. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time, and I hope to see you in May when we have a more elaborate course on different strategies you can use in different negotiation situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. It was interesting lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very intense and like very knowledgeable.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very
thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Professor.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
I really
you very
appreciate
much.
your
Thank
time.
you very much.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
С моей стороны, дорогие участники, я хотела бы сделать небольшое пояснение о том, что он оговорил о обучении в мае. Дело в том, что в мае мы будем проводить наш курс открытой регистрации, то есть он предусмотрен для всех желающих. У нас дополнительная информация будет в соцсетях, на нашем канале в Инстаграме, в Фейсбуке о том, что мы набираем участников. То есть все желающие могут пройти курс. Данный курс будет платным, он будет проходить в онлайн-формате в период с 17 по 28 мая. Наши контакты у вас есть, так как вы все получили линки. То есть если вы хотите получить дополнительную информацию, пожалуйста, пишите нам на e-mail, либо на те контакты, которые указаны у нас на сайте. Помимо этого, до курса профессора Акему в мае, в апреле мы также планируем провести такой же курс по анализу финансовой отчетности с нашим коллегой, доктором Израили. Если кому-то интересно, либо вы хотите поделиться этой информацией с коллегами, с вашими HR-ами, мы будем только признательны. Вам большое спасибо за ваше время, которое вы провели сегодня с нами. Надеюсь, сессия была вам очень полезной. Вы сможете применить это в вашей повседневной жизни, на работе. Спасибо большое.